Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. In the first scene, an 8-year-old boy named Christian LaRue fantasizes about becoming the best football player in the world and joining the public team. He longs to be like Cristiano Ronaldo and has a lot of admiration for him. Christian's mother, Kathleen, is there for him and tells him to show the coach first because she thinks he needs to learn to walk before he can jump. His father, George, resides in the United States Army and currently serves in the conflict in Afghanistan. After that, Blunt, our neighbor who causes recoil, becomes familiar to us, who has affairs frequently with Kathleen and his two sons, Ed and Donald. The same football practice group includes Christian, so he helps the youngster with get and drop off. Christian is overcome by his children, who acknowledge that he will never be able to compete with them. Their coach, Dominic, gives Christian a chance by making him the team's new striker one day. Regardless, the chap can't stun the guide as he doesn't score a lone goal. He returns miserable and places his faith in his mother, who assists him in recalling his father's words. To encourage him, George used to say to him, "Never give up because it leads to success." In addition, that is the best retaliation. Later, Christian accidentally kicks the ball to another neighbor's property while practicing penalty kicks at home. He destroys his plants out of rage. He is scolded by the elderly neighbor for harming his beautiful plants before he leaves. The child conveys his desire to be the world's best football player while also apologizing. However, the person who despises football tells Christian to keep the ball and his fantasy far away from him. In the next scene, the Northern Stars and Dominic football team compete in a tournament with the children's parents supporting them from the audience. Christian shouldn't play, as usual, according to Frank. Additionally, when he persuades Dominic to keep him as the primary member of their group, their performance is outrageous, pushing the mentor to his limits. During halftime, he reminds them to push ahead and score using the triangle technique and short passes. He additionally attempts to get the group energized before the final part begins. In any case, as the play time attracts to a nearby and the group neglects to perform, Dominic picks Christian to have Donald's spot. Shocked every other person. He plays very well, but he doesn't score. Fortunately, their team receives a penalty, which they score to tie the game at 1-1 after the game ends and all of the kids leave. The coach gives Christian high marks for his performance, stating that he performed admirably. In contrast, we are present for George and his army troops' actions. They appear to be surrounded by enemies. Even worse are the severe injuries sustained by their commander. George keeps on taking care of his kindred troopers, guaranteeing them that he won't abandon anybody, notwithstanding the fighters' steady loss of trust. In the midst of everything, he gets emotional when he looks at a picture of his wife and son. The following morning, Kathleen gets a get back to as she is driving home from dropping her child off at school. She learns that her husband is missing in action from Sergeant William Scott. Shocked at the unexpected news, Kathleen gets involved and ends up crashing her vehicle. Soon after, Christian, who is waiting at school for his mother, is obtained by Forthcoming, who promptly transports him to the medical facility. The kid is crushed to discover that Christian's mom is in basic condition and has nobody to really focus on her. Until his mother recovers, he is left with straight. Tragically, he has received inadequate treatment. He is made to reside in a storm cellar that has been deserted and even needs to do everything around the house. One day, Frank notices that Christian needs new football boots. As a result, he takes them to a game store. However, prior to the store owner presenting the best options, Frank makes it abundantly clear that Christian is not his son. He needs the least expensive shoes subsequently. After that, the store owner hands him a strange pair of golden shoes. Disregarding this, the youngster says nothing negative and joyfully recognizes what he gets. Christian practices alone one day, actually wearing the normal, worn-out shoes. When he shoots the ball like a pro at the emergency clinic, he is shocked. Kathleen is fortunate to have Mary White, a caring nurse, taking care of her. She says that a mother's solidarity is the main thing that can lift a kid, and as well as dealing with Kathleen, she urges her to be solid for her youngster spirit. A few days later, the Northern Stars have another child. What's more, if they win it, they will actually want to contend in the finals of the competition. As a result, they will be eligible to play in the games for the state and regional championships. The group, then again, can't perform toward the finish of the principal half. Because time is running out, Dominic decides to use Christian rather than Frank's son for the remaining half. Frank strongly objects when he hears this and tries to persuade the coach to reconsider. Dominic, on the other hand, is well aware of who he is. By attempting to bribe the coach into repaying the money that he appears to have previously loaned, Frank engages in the dirty game. Christian, on the other hand, is permitted to play despite Dominic's refusal. Christian scores objectives consistently, demonstrating Dominic's choice to be crucial. Everyone has been impressed by his remarkable performance. After the game, I track down my striker, including the mentor who murmurs. Christian's only friend is Julian, the goalkeeper for the Northern Stars, congratulates him on his presentation and encourages him to keep his mom in his heart. In any case, Plain, who is in love with the child, makes him do the dishes, prevents him from seeing his mother, and even prevents him from calling. After a few games, Christian starts to improve his skills and leads his team to many victories, much to the delight of his coach, who has always felt like a loser. However, the young boy has now made me feel like a winner. Reporters gradually become interested in the boy's amazing game. Furthermore, an image of him shows up in the paper. At the clinical facility, Mary shows the paper to Kathleen, who is especially satisfied with her kid. She tries to contact him after that, but Frank, jealous, cuts her off. The night before the final tournament match, Dominic calls Mitch, a national team scout, and asks him to watch Christian's play. Christian goes above and beyond, leading the team to victory and demonstrating his worth to Mitch precisely as the coach had predicted. Over the course of the day, Christian's popularity continues to rise, and Kathleen enjoys watching him on television, which makes her very happy. She's moreover up close and personal since she wishes George could see their kids' show. Frank, on the other hand, is unhappy with the boy's success and intends to bring him home. Christian wonders if the golden shoes are the only reason his ability has improved one day while practicing alone. He in this manner rehearses extra shots in both of his accessible matches to test it. He shoots perfectly with the brilliant shoes, astonishing thinking about that his shots from the standard pair are all off-kilter. Frank, who observes and plans to steal his golden shoes after learning the secret. He even tries to steal them while Christian is sleeping as he tries to persuade Christian to take another pair. Regardless, his efforts are pointless. Christian is a kind kid who prays for his parents, his team, and even Frank's health despite everything. After a short time, the commonplace state title games start and Christian, with his bewildering skills, drives the gathering to different victories, ultimately guiding the team to its first finals appearance. The boy's profile rises as a result of his exceptional performance, carrying him to the very front of paper and magazine titles. Frank, on the other hand, doesn't change and continues to rule the boy coldly. Kathleen calls forthcoming at some point to inquire about the well-being of her child. Even though Christian is standing right in front of him, he won't let them talk somewhere else. The Christian faith gains traction in the United States. A president who knows a lot about his people and the young men. Situation right now following hearing everything. The president decides to support Christian after hearing his moving story in a press conference. He likewise says that he will do everything possible to find Christian's dad and bring him back so he can watch Christian play in the title game that is coming up. In addition, Mary motivates Kathleen by telling her to get on her crutches and go to her son's game. She is visited shortly thereafter by the president's secretary, who informs her that the president is supporting her son. We see a second group of military powers sent to find their lost in the following scene. They are, thankfully, prepared to locate the Mias and safely transport them home. Sometime later, the president holds another public meeting to share the inspiring fresh insight about the Mia's rescue and their security. He also announces the names of the MI. George LaRoute is one of them. As she watches the news on television, Kathleen is overjoyed. The president finds this story to be inspiring. Additionally, he has no idea what will happen if it does not change a nation. After declaring that he must attend a football game on the day of the regional state championship finals, Christian gets ready to leave. In any case, similarly as he is going to leave his room in the storm cellar, he finds that Plain has locked him inside and taken the brilliant shoes as well. Fortunately, the owner of the neighbor's dog wakes up, and he comes over to see what's going on. through the doors to the cellar. He asks Christian why Christian should help him, glass. Moreover, the kid writes in a note, "Since you are a heavenly messenger of mine." This moves the man's heart. In the wake of understanding that Christian is behind schedule for his soccer match, the man chooses to drive him to the arena in his rare vehicle. Consequently, he immediately shatters the window and drags Christian out. In any case, before getting in the car, Christian looks at a few football grants in his carport and thinks about how he got them. Regardless of being uncovered for his aversion of football, the man concedes that he was awesome at it when he was more youthful. However, he was in an unfortunate accident one day that left him with broken back and foot, forcing him to part with everything, but he carried on with his life until Christian started practicing next door one day, and he has since rediscovered a beautiful game. After a brief conversation, the two swiftly advance toward the match. Meanwhile, Dominic gets some data about Christian, yet he lies that the youngster is wiped out and that he cannot make it. Accordingly, the game starts without Christian, and it is justifiable that the group is more vulnerable. A short while later, Christian finally makes it to the game. However, he's inclination the deficiency of his splendid shoes, which makes him second guess himself. When the mentor finds out, he motivates the student with a speech, advising him that he does not need those shoes and that all he needs to play is self-confidence. The child then enters the game and scores his first goal, recalling Dominic's words, re-establishing his confidence in the last minutes. He scores an impressive goal, like his idol Cristiano Ronaldo, and guarantees his team's victory. Right after that, Kathleen reaches the stadium, where George comes up behind her as she limps inside on crutches. The couple enters to watch their child lift the prize after a moving gathering. The family finally reunites after the match. In addition, Kathleen hits Plain upside the head when he tries to mediate and tells her significant other that she will make sense of it later. A few seconds later, Christian receives an offer from Mitch to join the international team. At the movie's conclusion, the winning team is seen presenting the trophy. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.